Hey, I'm Butterfly.
Hey, I'm Firefly.
Have you ever wondered if we aren't being told the truth about everything?
What have we been lied to about? Join us as we have conversations and ask questions about everything. We invite you to keep an open mind and consider the unfathomable.
Let's break the chains that enslave our minds. Come on, let's go down the rabbit hole.
What's up, Butterfly?
Hey, Firefly, how's it going?
It's going great. I'm so stoked to be doing another episode with you.
Yeah, are we going to be going down a rabbit hole today?
We have a rabbit hole. We have a rabbit hole that we kind of always have a rabbit hole.
Well, we can never run out of
It's
rabbit
kind of,
holes.
all we got to do is kind of look around and we kind of see stuff and we go, wait a minute.
Well,
But
you know what? Today I think we have a dire situation
it's
on our
dire.
hands. It's dire.
You know why? Because it's pertaining to the cloning of the dire wolf,
Yeah, we have a dire rabbit hole. I'm talking
which
about the dire wolves.
which kind of pertains to like our dinosaur episode a little bit in kind of some ways.
Right. Well, it kind of reminds me of that, and that's why I wanted to go down this rabbit hole because have you heard about this breaking news that's
Uh,
happening right now?
Only because of you. But please fill us in.
Well, apparently, they have decided to clone some wolves that were from like 13,000 years ago.
Now, first thing I'm thinking is I'm so glad that we're spending money doing that.
I know.
There's homeless dudes.
Totally.
I mean, people are totally struggling.
That was the
And
first thing I thought of.
I'm like, dude, it's a really good thing that we're going to Mars and cloning dire wolves because
Yeah.
I think that's important for future
Yeah.
stuff.
I mean, I thought about that right off the bat. And then, but you know what? I started thinking, like, even the name, like, dire.
It's
Well,
dire.
what doesn't that seem kind of strange to you? Like, why are they called dire wolves?
I know.
You know?
Well, there's a song by the Grateful Dead called The Dire.
Interesting.
And the dire wolf comes to his window and he lets him in, then he plays cards with him and he loses in cards and then the chorus says, "Don't murder me." That's what the dire wolf, he's pleading with the dire wolf, "Please don't murder me." And the dire wolf is kind of like maybe the angel of death kind of thing.
Hmm. So do you think that maybe they are making fun of us for believing this? Or,
Maybe.
like
What do you
they're
mean?
mocking us? I don't know. Just this whole dire wolf thing sounds super just like another one of their outrageous fairy tales that they like to tell us. Like, first of all, the name, but second of all, like, okay, why do we need to clone this animal? Like, do we really need more wolves in the world? Is that something we need?
Are we LARPing and like creating kind of like a mythical character on purpose, maybe? And we're spending taxpayer dollars to like go try to create like a cartoon character in
Yeah.
a lab?
Yeah.
Maybe? Dire wolves.
And also,
Like, why not just regular wolves?
yeah. And then like I was thinking like, okay, are they even, first of all, my mind just went in so many different directions. Like, are they actually really doing this? Like, are they really cloning this animal? Or like, did they just go get some, litter of huskies from some breeder somewhere and say, this is a dire wolf that we've
Yeah.
created, or like, are they getting us prepared for the idea of cloning? And like, they're going to be like, well, in 2025, we cloned the dire wolf and now it's 2030 and we're able to clone you, I mean,
Makes you
like,
wonder, why are you divulging this to us? Because
right.
behind the scenes, scientists, quote unquote, are doing a bunch of like evil, clandestine things
Yeah.
that they're not telling us.
Right.
But they're just kind of throwing us
They're
a
like,
bone.
oh, by the way, we just cloned this dire wolf.
Yeah, we're just going to let you know about this. And it's
Yeah.
like, well, why do you let me know about this, but lie to me about everything else and then hide everything else?
Yeah.
But this is what they want you to kind of know about.
This is headlines.
But then also, like, how much of it's true and how much of it is just like this big media narrative that
Yeah.
they're just kind of planting. And
It's
going,
like a
"Here."
sideshow. It's a distraction,
And then it's also kind of reminding people like Well, the tooth that we found is 13 million years old.
Yeah.
And the skull that we found is like 21 million years old.
So
And actually, the dire wolves, they lived. It was so funny. Like I was reading a little bit of the blurb, and it was like they lived between 2.6 and 4.8 million years ago. And I was like, well, first of all, it's kind of a big window.
it's
Like,
a big span
yeah, like why
of
even
like 4 million years.
why even make an assertion like that? It's like it's not even. You have such a wide target that you're not even really saying anything.
Well,
And then how do you know millions of years? Like I don't I can't swallow that there's something on this earth that's millions of years old.
yeah.
And how do you know that?
Well, how
So
do you
like
know that?
half-lives, it's like, oh well, so you just deduce that from like, well, I found this little bone and we looked at it from with the microscope, and now we know
That
it's
it's
13 million years
yeah.
old.
How do you know that is the big question. I mean, like, they could just find something like a bone and say, like, this is really old.
And then why is yeah, that's all I need to know.
It's really old.
That's all I need to know. And I bet you they even have a hard time deducing that. Could
Yeah.
be like just died last month.
I know. It could have been like, 20 years old, maybe,
I
which is
know.
pretty old.
Pretty old
Yeah,
still.
yeah.
Maybe
And still intact.
maybe it was some dude in Indiana's dog from
Yeah.
20 years ago.
Yeah, he buried his dog in the backyard, and like that is the bone that they found.
They
The dire
found it.
wolf.
And now they're calling it the dire wolf, and then they create these numbers because why is the tooth millions of years older than the head?
Oh gosh, what you mean?
Why?
They found a tooth that's a different age than
Well, yeah, in the blurb, that's kind of what I was like getting at. Like, okay, so
well
they're cloning the animal off of DNA that from the
two
bone.
different animals.
From two different animals.
So how do they even know they were the same species?
And that's what I'm wondering. And there's a lot of weird things like so according to what they're asserting,
So
they live millions. I mean, think about how long a time. Think about how long a time 1 million years is. 1 million years. Okay, like America's been around for 250 years, so you're talking like 1,000 times more than that.
Yeah.
1,000.
Well,
and you're talking, okay, this bone is just some wolf lived his life and then died. You found that, you know exactly what era and epoch that's from.
Right.
And then you go and you find another bone that's just like much deeper in time. It all seems like such a religion.
And then like why would they think that the one bone that from like 1 million to 5 million years before is anyway related to the other bone? Like,
So are the same dire wolf.
Like that animal like survived like millions of years, and they're able. And then it goes back to like the conversation we had about the dinosaurs, because this is very dinosaur type.
It kind of is.
Like how we were talking about how they recreate these animals from like two bones, and
Yeah.
I it's like
You're making a lot of assumptions.
it's like you've got this one part and this one other part, and you're able to just come up with this idea of what the entire animal looked like based on two bones.
That makes me think the whole thing is probably just completely fabricated.
Yeah.
And then it kind of gets me thinking,
what's the real story?
What's the real story? The real story is, by the way, science is your daddy. I'm kind of thinking, like, you need to trust us. And we're the ones that have the knowledge.
Because we're so smart.
Yeah.
We're able to piece together bones from millions of years ago and know exactly what kind of animal it was. We're that smart.
We're so smart.
We're that smart. So you should take this medicine that we're telling you to take.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's like people just I hate to say it, people I love and respect would hear something like this and just go, "Oh my god,
that's so cool!
Whoa,
that's super cool!" Did you hear about the bones that they found, and they're making this like wolf? Oh, it's awesome!
Like my first instinct is this is fucking bullshit, But maybe that's just me. But it just seems okay. Like you're saying. First of all, why dire wolves? I think that's a good point.
So dire.
Is it like
it's a dire situation?
It's a dire situation. It's like their favorite band is the Dire Straits. I don't know. It's like, well, okay, so why that? Why the huge swaths of time difference? And then why like these assertions about how this animal lived between 2.6 and 6.8 million years ago? I'm thinking that's complete fiction.
Mm-hmm.
And why are they throwing it out? I think it's to kind of corral people back into this mentality. Like, you're kind of getting away from our science worldview. We want you to get back into that.
Oh, right.
I think they need to keep like reminding people science worldview,
Yes.
science worldview, Big Bang Theory.
Yeah.
You're just an ant on a pile of poop going, and there's millions and millions of other yous out there. You're not special. I think that's kind of what, because it's like semiotics. There's a lot of other things that kind of drip off of something like this.
So did this wolf just like appear from a big bang? I
Yeah.
wonder if that's what they're going to imply also. Like
Well,
it just showed up.
when they throw out these numbers, it seems like what they're trying to say is,
Don't question it.
yeah. First of all, we know what's going on. This is millions and millions of years old.
It's undebatable.
You can't debate it. Kind of like Gavin Newsom when he says the debate on climate change is
It's
over.
over. I am climate
The
change.
debate on
The
the
climate
dire wolf.
god.
I am climate change. These guys are like, I know bones.
I am carbon dating.
Remember the one dude? He's like,
do you
I
think
am
the guy-
carbon dating.
Do you think the guy goes on carbon dating?
He goes carbon dating
He's just like carbon dating website
when he's looking for
to
girls.
meet like paleontology chicks.
Yeah, he goes on his carbon dating website. Oh my god! And it's like
I
other
only date carbon daters.
yes. She's like, I drink that Kool-Aid. He's like, ooh,
I'm into paleontology.
I'm a what was his
As a paleogeneticist.
paleogeneticist. It's like, oh, okay, it's the genetics of bones, and I study. I think
The older the better.
yeah. I think that guy is one of those people who we've talked about before, where they're not only guzzling the Kool-Aid, but they're serving the Kool-Aid.
Oh yeah, totally.
They're like at the party giving out.
They're giving
Kool-Aid.
out shots.
Yes.
Take your shot.
Here, yeah, shot glasses.
Yeah.
Like, here's your shot glass of
Yeah.
Kool-Aid. So, like, right when you show up at the party, he's going 13 million years.
Yeah.
It's
They
like,
drink it and they go, yeah,
yeah.
at least maybe
And people
200
totally
million.
like just go along with it, and you can tell like it totally breaks down.
Yeah.
Like, dude, if I dig into this situation, first of all, I don't believe anything they tell you.
Right.
Who knows that they found bones? And where did they
Exactly.
find bones?
Yeah.
Were you guys excavating somewhere?
Right.
And then you found some dog bones? You found dog bones.
I know they found dog bones, and now all of a sudden it's 200 million.
I could almost see some guy was smoking a joint. And he was like, dude, why don't we just say that these dog bones are dire wolf bones?
I know. That's what I'm saying. Like, these could be like huskies that they got from some breeder, and they're like, "Oh, isn't it cute? It's all white and flat. Oh, it looks like it's a dire wolf.
It's a dire wolf. Let's create a
We
whole
made
mythos.
it, yeah.
And that's 13 million years
Well,
old. What's in your hand right there?
So also, like, what would be the point of that? Why would they recreate it, and how would they recreate it? They're able to create a whole living creature from DNA from these bones. Like, they can extract DNA from the bone
Yeah.
and make an animal out of it.
Yeah.
I mean,
That sounds far-fetched.
it sounds far-fetched to me.
Like, what do you guys have, like a database of every DNA that's ever existed? So you can go and you can take a little section of DNA, and then I guess what they can do is they can put it into their AI, all-knowing AI god,
Yeah.
and the AI god will go, yes, that is this DNA, and here is that creature.
Well, I think
And they lived 20 million years ago.
I know it's almost like the bone that they found was like there was like a test tube attached to it with a label,
Exactly.
dire wolf
And you
DNA
can trust that. Or was that like that was like 13 million years ago, Colt members.
with the date.
Yeah.
With the date. But it's kind of like they're trying to get us ready for this idea that they can clone creatures just with a small little, like they could
I do
take a
think they
piece of
can
my
clone.
hair. They could take a piece of my hair and just make another one of me.
Make another you.
Another me.
I think they can clone. I think
Mhm.
they can.
Do you think they're trying to get us on board with that idea?
I think so.
Warm us up to it?
I think so. I think what they're trying to get us warmed up to the idea is that we have a post-human world coming.
Mhm.
You're not needed. we can create something, because that's kind of like the gist of it, right? If
and
they can clone me,
if they
we
can
don't need you.
clone a dire wolf from millions of years ago, they could probably easily clone you. Like, so
Yeah.
is that going to be like, that we're going to start having babies in incubators, like in Brave New World,
I just was
and
thinking that.
the Giver, they had all these babies in incubators. They were just making them.
That was the epiphany. I had another epiphany when you were just talking. It's totally like priming you for the Brave New World. The Brave New World is you don't have sex and get pregnant and have a kid and have a natural family. No, we make you in a lab.
We clone the ones that we want.
Yeah.
And we make the other ones infertile.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
And we're in charge. We're gods.
So
we're science. We're gods.
The ones that take like certain kind of pharmaceutical products are probably going to be mostly infertile. And those are the ones that I guess they probably don't want, right? So does that mean they're going to clone us?
They're probably gonna. I've often said, like,
and then are there going to be a lot of
my unvaxxed sperm is like worth a lot. I heard
it is.
I mean, I've never really thought if I get really broke, I'm gonna like fall back on that.
Oh no!
But the only thing is, then you're kind of like, okay, but now I've kind of fathered
like 8,000 kids.
Yeah, who knows? And I don't know.
That's kind of weird.
Part of me, like, because then my heart would have to go out to them. Those are like my children.
Yeah.
Because, like, I want to love my kids.
Can you imagine Christmas?
Yeah.
That could get really expensive.
Oh my God. Like on Amazon going, 8,000 of G.I. Joe. I mean, I don't know. I just feel like that'd be like a weird thing. I guess, see, Elon like has no problem with that.
No.
Elon probably is fine with like donate. I'm sure he has already donated his sperm, and he's like, by the way, keep mine in a special vial that says Elon, right?
You have to pay extra for that one. There's an upcharge.
I think that's kind of maybe what they're doing here. They're priming us with this like idea that natural order
is obsolete.
And this whole idea about God, like you've heard Noel Harari. Have you ever heard Noel Harari?
Yeah, he's horrible.
He's just such
an evil little weasel.
I'm a very, very angry little gay Israeli. And, it's weird because people still believe in the Bible and it's fake news.
It's a fairy tale.
That's what he wants you to believe. This is fake news over here. What we're doing is the truth. And I think maybe a story like this kind of is like fodder for people to get around this science worldview, because if you ever read the plans of these scientist guys, they all have these big wet dreams that they want to like see.
Yeah, they're all kind of mad scientists.
Yeah.
And they're kind of like in their little places mixing concoctions and doing things, and I don't think a lot of those things are really good.
No. And they get funding somehow.
Yeah, somehow they get grants and funding, and like that's their job, to go like in their little lab and be mad scientists. They probably get a lot of money to do that.
I'm Dr. Fauci, and I'm gonna put some gnats on these beagles' heads, and I'm gonna watch them die, and that's what I'm gonna do.
Yeah, it's so
it's sick. Like, well, you get paid to do that, and that's what we want. So it's like, I don't know. I think kind of these guys are megalomaniacs
and psychopaths.
And then they kind of want to believe like they're really powerful.
Yeah.
And they're going to create the new world.
They are God.
They're God.
Yeah.
They're God.
And then they get like their minions who are like high up in their companies and stuff to work for them and like think that they're important too and do all the dirty work and stuff.
And people seem to drink their Kool-Aid.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I know a lot of people who do drink their Kool-Aid. Yeah. It's funny because people kind of swallow this stuff.
Yeah, they do.
They do. And they think they're smart when they watch a show. Like they'll watch
and they say paleontology.
Yeah. Or even further, paleogeneticist.
Like, oh my God.
I'm so smart that I even...
So sexy.
God. Like when he goes on a date, he probably says, well, I'm a paleogeneticist. And there's probably some girl out there who's like, oh my God.
Yeah, most of them are probably like, what is that?
Oh, I want to do that for a living. Oh my gosh. And then, you just thought, well, I'm studying a bone right now that's from a dire wolf. It's like 2.6 million years old.
Or 4 million years old.
Why not just say it's 2 billion years old?
Well, yeah.
I mean,
why not just like really blow some minds?
Say it's 1 trillion years old.
You know what? 1 million years old is like That's like old news. I'm
These are
bored with
rookie
that.
numbers.
Bored with that. I want to see one that's 1 billion years old.
Yeah.
You know,
As a matter of fact, I want to see something that's like a quadrillion years old. Show me a quadrillion-year-old
I
bone.
want to see it.
Yeah. I mean, if you're going to throw out these numbers, like pump them up.
Yeah.
Get them impressive.
Nobody wants to see 4 million-year-old bones
4
anymore.
million? God,
That's so
that's like,
boring.
I mean, it might as well have been yesterday. You know? So I don't know. I mean, part of me kind of feels like this is all a narrative.
Mhm.
It's all a narrative, and I think you're right. I think it's like kind of like it's like planting the seeds for like, are you ready for Brave New Worlds? Brave New World's gonna be so good.
Mhm.
You know? Remember, and like what are the dynamics of Brave New Worlds? Like you don't just fall in love, start a family, and have kids. No. You just have random sex with like coworkers and stuff.
Yeah.
That's kind of like the gist of it.
You take your little happy drug and
You take your soma,
yeah.
stay nice and mellow all day, and
don't really feel anything.
And then you're kind of like created in a lab, and then based on your genetics, you're put into your like social order. So remember, there was like the alpha, the beta, the gammas, and like you had the people at the top of the hierarchy, and then everybody below was like filed like according to their genetics.
Right.
You know, I think that's kind of what they're getting at, you know, and what they really want you to kind of get is humans are no longer needed.
Yeah, we're not necessary.
Yeah.
We're going to improve on that design.
We're going to improve.
Prove on that.
And that's what like Noel Harari is always saying is like, gonna make like humans and cyborgs basically. You're gonna become like one with technology, you know, and that's what they want people to kind of do. I think
so too.
And again, it's kind of fear porn too. It's a little bit of fear porn, right? It's like, oh my god, they're cloning things, you know, and because you know, if you're our age, you've had lots of horror movies that have come your way that have kind of had that as like a premise.
Right.
So maybe it's kind of fear porn too.
Yeah, well, you know, the people who will kind of stop and question it might think it's scary because they'll be like, what are they going to clone next?
Yeah.
You know?
And then, like, who knows? Maybe this is nothing. Maybe they're cloning nothing.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Like I said, they might just be huskies that they got from a breeder.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's like, it's not that bone is not 13 million years old. That bone is like 17 months old.
Yeah.
That dog just died like last year. He got ran over, and they found like the bone because the people buried it in their front yard. I mean, how do we know any of this is true?
Well, I just think like, okay, if they actually have this bone that is really like 2.5 to 4.8 million years old, how fresh is that DNA?
Yeah.
Can they just like concoct a whole animal from like that old of DNA? I would think the DNA would like expire after a while, after like a few million years.
I guess. I guess there's
like it was perfectly preserved. They just scooped out a little bit.
Yeah, it hasn't actually ran out of its half-life yet.
Yeah.
It still had some half-life.
It had just enough in it to make a whole litter of puppies.
And what do they like have little spoons and like scoop out a little bit and
you
like
just
put it into
extract just enough to like clone a few puppies.
We're gonna put it in and then what how do they do that? Like the cloning machine.
I know.
Created, like,
really?
the cloning machine.
How did they do that?
I don't know. I don't know what to believe. Do they even have the ability to clone, or are they just telling us that they have the ability to clone? Now, see, I actually heard that Disney clones their
child stars.
Yes.
Yeah. That's an interesting topic.
No, somebody threw that.
Maybe this dire situation with the wolves is to get us ready for like maybe that truth is coming out, and we're all going to find out that like Britney Spears and Zac Efron and they're all like clones.
Which I wouldn't be surprised. Like if it came out in the wash, I would just be like, that makes sense. You know, like we were talking about Kim Kardashian. You know, we were talking about influencers.
Yeah.
What if all influencers were like just made in a lab?
They have a lab. They're like, we need an influencer.
We're rolling out our new Kim, and then they have like a new Kim model, and then this model does a photo shoot, you know, and then that's like that whole model's like life, and then they just go and like reformulate it for something else.
Oh my gosh.
Is that completely beyond the pale? I don't know.
Hey, if they're cloning puppies, why not? They could be cloning these other things, right?
I'm wondering if cloning is the way of the future. Cloning is what they want. And these science guys are like maybe thinking that they are gods, but I'm thinking they probably haven't perfected it yet. That's what I'm thinking.
So they're just going to keep trying it on
I
dogs.
think they're really trying, and we're spending money. Like, so this Direwolf project, it got funded.
How much do you think that costs? How many millions of dollars do you think those scientists are making?
Like,
They probably make like 300,000 a year to go work on their
easily,
cloning of their DNA.
easily, they're living a nice life, and then also like the whole project, the grant for that project,
Millions,
yeah,
millions
millions of dollars.
to have a litter of puppies.
Why?
I mean, like puppies are, if you get a purebred puppy nowadays, they're pretty expensive, but not in the millions.
How about a clone bred puppy?
Those are in the millions.
Who gets this dog? Does somebody just own the direwolf?
So what are they going to do with the wolves? Are they just going to release them out into the wild? And then we're going to have like a bunch more wolves now suddenly?
How annoying, you know?
I know. Are they going to keep them in a zoo?
Like some rabbit can tell it's like cloned, like not afraid of it.
Yeah.
Like the rabbit, well, like a real rabbit's like not afraid because it's
Yeah.
like,
Oh, that's
you're-
just a clone.
you're just a clone.
Yeah.
I'm not even scared of you. You're not even dire.
Or what if their plan is to like because they said that these wolves had died out a long time ago, but now they want to repopulate them. So what if their plan is to like, have a whole bunch more, like they start reproducing out in the wild and suddenly we've got like thousands of dire wolves running around.
Coming around.
Could that be safe?
Maybe.
I don't know.
That's what they want us
Wolves
to
are
do.
kind of like vicious and gnarly animals, aren't they?
Yeah, maybe maybe they're going to be like rounding up people who do thought crimes.
The wolves are going to do it. Oh my gosh.
That's why.
Totally.
Because they probably studied like,
they're going to train them.
The dire wolf is a very good hunter,
No,
and they're big and gnarly.
Yeah. Oh my God, this is bringing back a memory of, weren't they saying like during the cootie scare that there was some wolves that could smell like whether or not people were
unvaxxed?
Yeah. Do you remember hearing about that?
Vaguely.
There was something about wolves and oh my God, I wish I could.
So maybe that's the dire wolf clone like project. They're going to be the
They're
enforcers.
going to have a job for these wolves. They're going to be out on the streets and
clone dire wolves keeping the peace.
And then they'll have like cloned like cops that are going to be like with the dire wolves. They'll be like a little army, like rounding up people.
Yeah, maybe. Oh, dude, maybe these dire wolves are so big and gnarly, and they can clone them. Where like, you know how like most Americans are armed. Yeah. There's like 400 million guns in America. Well, maybe they're like thinking, okay, well, how are we gonna like kill off these white trash? Because that's pretty much what America is. Like, it's all white trash all the way across the country, and they've all
except for
guns.
all the illegal immigrants.
Well, that's kind
that
of
are taking over.
That's kind of but like Americans, I'm talking like Americans. They're like armed white trash, right? Well, they're kind of like scratching their heads, like, how are we gonna like round these people
Control
up?
Them.
Well, maybe like they just have big gnarly dire wolves that even if you shoot them with a shotgun, they'll still keep coming. And they're clones, so it's like not that big of a deal if one of them dies.
It's like those werewolves in the Twilight series.
Yeah,
just a huge piece.
Like so instead of getting swatted, you get dire wolf.
You get dire wolf.
So that's what's going on.
You look out your living room window. You're like, oh no, the dire wolves are coming.
Get the AR-15. We got dire wolves. Oh my God. That might be what's going on. I don't know. It just seems
be a reason for it.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of money, and it seems like a lot of stupid, like, assertions.
Well, they do spend a lot of money on, like, the zoos, and we talked about big museum. Like all these.
I fucking hate zoos. By the way.
Yeah.
Every time I go to a zoo, I feel so sorry for the animals.
I'm so sorry for them too. Yeah.
I'm like, oh God.
It's like
the lions are always looking at everybody like, dude, I hate my life.
What about the gorillas? Those are the saddest.
God. They don't belong.
Those are the saddest.
Why don't you have like tours of their natural environment? where people can go observe animals if they're available to see in their natural environment. And then it's non-invasive and you have like, that's when I could see like an electric car being cool. You have like a little electric Jeep that takes you and you're protected by like glass. So like if an animal starts to attack, you can't get to the people.
Sounds like Jurassic Park.
Kind of like that. And you just go through and you see animals in their natural habitat. That seems like the appropriate. When did we come up with zoos?
I don't know.
Like, let's just throw animals in like a jail.
Right.
And then we'll go look at them in their jail cell.
Well, it's possible that maybe we're animals in a big cage.
I think it's becoming more clear.
We've kind of talked about that, like,
and we're being observed.
There could be more land out there. We talked about that, maybe in Antarctica, and we're just caged in this small.
The 15-minute cities are zoos.
They're closing in on us, and we will be observed because they said we're going to be under 24/7 surveillance. Remember, Larry Ellison was like, "Oh, everybody will be on their best behavior because they're going to be watched all the time."
Yeah. So I think this story kind of lends itself to that. It's like this idea that humans are bad. Humans are going the way of the dinosaur, right? Mm-hmm. The time is up. They kind of want us knowing that, like Extinction Rebellion, like if you think about like their whole Kool-Aid, the Kool-Aid of Extinction Rebellion is we're done. The human race is done. We've already crossed the tipping point.
And now all we have to do is just clone the people that we want in incubators, and we've already done it with the dire wolves, so we can start with the people now.
Noel Harari is like corralling.
There'll be like 20 Noel Hararis.
We already have one is enough.
One's more than enough.
God, but he's corralling us into that idea of the post-human world. Everything is a clone, and those clones are probably going to be like only born to serve the elites, and the elites are going to be like trying to upload their consciousness, but
somebody's got to scoop the poop.
That's right. I think that's what's going on. So the clones are going to be doing like some of poop scooping, and like just some of the work that they don't want them to do. Like, okay, we need to build this house. Here's the plans, and just have our clones go do it while we, go talk about important stuff because I'm out bored. You know what I'm saying? I think that might be kind of what the plan is, and they're going to get rid of all of us useless eaters, and the elites are going to be like living forever in their AI like hybrid lives, and then they'll have clones that are not robots but genetic walkers that they're just completely controlled, right? And they don't have any free will. They're just slaves, and they go do some of the
epiphany. So we kind of already have those zombie walkers, right? But they're probably not the cloned versions that they would prefer. So maybe they dialed in on like how to zombify and make these people walkers where they're just roaming around, like really easily manipulated and controlled. Yeah. But now what they're going to do is they're going to take that aspect and put it into their cloning process. So they're going to have only the ones that they really want with the design that they want. But they'll also add the aspect of the zombified walker mentality, so that they're clones and they're easily manipulated and controlled.
So they'll use the vaccinated, pharmaceutical drug numbed cult member walker as the model.
Yeah. That's the prototype of the mentality.
Yeah.
But they'll have a new cloned version that's more to their liking, a better
kind of like the MK Ultra subject.
Yeah.
Is like the ideal. Mm-hmm. That's what they want. A perfectly controlled, but still a human to go out and carry out human tasks. But what I don't understand is why bother to do clones, just make robots?
Well, I think that's going to be maybe the next step, like in phase 2 of the plan. I think they haven't perfected that yet.
Yeah.
Like they have the robots and they even have robot dogs. Have you seen those?
Yeah.
Kind of weird. But they probably don't have it perfected enough where like the robots could actually go and like, open up a fast food place and make the burgers or whatever, and like Donald Trump does like his McDonald's hamburgers.
Maybe human traits, that's true. And maybe human traits like are more advantageous to certain tasks.
Hmm.
Like robots are still kind of cumbersome, whereas humans, because if you can actually clone a human being, um, their dexterity,
Yeah, like it might be hard for a robot to like give somebody a manicure,
yeah,
and they're going to need that,
or
or
like
like
something where you need
somebody to cut
delicate
their hair,
hands, you
you
know,
know?
like a masseuse.
Yeah.
You don't want a masseuse to be a robot.
No, no.
You want it to be kind of like a human that you control.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
that would be, or like they could have like prostitutes, like clone prostitutes that are just like their job is just sexual pleasure.
That's their job. Well,
Yeah.
that might be their job in this Brave New World,
Yeah.
Because everybody will be designated, they'll all have certain jobs that they're assigned, and that will probably be one of the jobs.
And if they
like
get
on
pregnant,
the lower tier.
if they get pregnant, they just kill the whole clone.
Yeah.
So it's like
They
they
don't
just
need to-
abort.
They don't need to mess around with just the baby.
They don't abort the
They just
baby
get rid
anymore.
of the
They just
whole-
abort the clone.
Abort the clone. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think that might. So that kind of this kind of feels New Worldy.
It's super New Worldy.
Like what's it called? Brave New Worldy.
Brave New World.
Brave New World.
Yeah,
This
and The
feels
Giver.
like it. And The Giver.
Which was Brave New World-ish.
Because, Aldous Huxley, he was like, yes, well, it's actually a much more efficient model than the 1984 model,
Yeah.
And what is the model? The model is kind of like,
Dumb people down, make them numb, and just zombify them, which is
Yeah.
what's happening already.
yeah,
And then
Cole.
control them, tell them what they're going to do, what you need them to do, and clone them,
Yeah,
the ones that we want
yeah.
to do the jobs.
Yeah, because we're spending a lot of money like cloning. So one of two things. It's completely bullshit.
Yeah.
And there's no cloning going on.
Yeah.
All that this was like some stupid like, hey, wait, that's a dog bone. And then some dude like smoking a joint.
Story.
Yeah. He was like, why don't we just say that's a dire wolf? And just be like, hey, we're gonna clone dire wolves. And we'll just like make a news story about that. And just like that. So there is that. Because it was on the first result when I searched it was CNN.
Oh God.
So that kind of says a lot.
Mm-hmm.
It's like we're all over this story.
We are dire wolves.
We are dire wolves. They're, because CNN totally pushes the climate change,
Yeah.
and totally pushes the
whatever's the latest and greatest,
the latest and
the
greatest,
newest trendy
Yes.
thing to talk about.
Support Ukraine, and now it's
Dire wolves.
well, it's like, damn it, we need to protest Elon and Trump.
Yeah.
So I think once I see them as the top result pushing this, like if this was real, it probably would be like censored.
Yeah. Would
Because
they want us to know about this?
Yeah.
It seems like
They kind of
secret.
they don't want us knowing stuff that's like important.
Yeah.
They don't want us knowing that.
Yeah.
So they kind of threw us a bone, no pun intended.
What's a dire bone? 2 million dire bone. 2 million euros.
So they threw us a dire wolf bone, and they just said, "Hey,
and we ate it up.
we totally did." And now we're kind of chewing on it.
We're like,
So I think that one of two things. One is there's no cloning going on. We don't know how to clone. We
Yeah.
can't clone.
No.
It's all just
it's a
fiction.
good story.
Or we actually do. We actually do clone stuff. And this, I don't believe that bone is 13 million years old. I do not believe that. And I'm sure people like will disagree with me and be like, "You're so stupid.
You don't understand carbon dating.
You don't understand carbon dating and half-lives." It's like, no, I don't. I'm not going to drink that Kool-Aid.
You've been spinning on your ball too.
But I also, this is another thing though. I don't know if we can clone.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. I
Because
don't
we
know.
might be able to clone. And if we could clone, we might have been able to clone for a
A
while.
long time. Well, remember they were supposedly cloning those poor little sheep in like what was that, like the 90s?
I remember that.
They were cloning sheep supposedly. That made headlines. But whatever happened with that?
And yeah, I don't know. So are we eating, like if you go get like a leg of lamb, are you eating like
like a cloned one? Maybe that's what that fake meat that Bill Gates is doing.
Clones.
It's clones.
Cloned meat.
It's actually clones.
I'll have a clone burger and fries. Yeah, I don't know.
And then, like, can they clone the fries?
Clone fries. Yeah, why? Why stop there?
Stop
They're
it.
cloning dire wolves. Clone a potato. You know?
I mean, really,
I mean, is there any shortage then?
of what we could clone.
I mean, yeah, we
We could
can
just
have.
clone anything.
If we can clone, then why are we even being conservative?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
So if we're cloning dire wolves,
yeah.
then why can't we just clone like all the fossil fuel stuff? And we're not going to run out of
Like clone oil.
the 200 million year old animals that created all those fossil fuels that we're running out of now.
I know.
I mean, we could just clone that, right?
If we can clone, why is there anything scarce? Nothing is
There
scarce.
should be no limit.
We just clone all things.
We need more energy. We need more electricity.
Yeah, it's okay. We're gonna clone you some oil. Hold on. You know, good.
Yeah,
Clone my oil for me. You know,
that would solve all the problems, wouldn't it?
you know.
Maybe that's what they're working on. Maybe they're like, okay, dire wolves today, fossil fuels tomorrow.
Exactly. But you, all the useless eaters, you guys need to die before we have a fun ending.
You need to die and
Yeah.
don't plug your electric car today because we're having a blackout.
Why not? Just keep cloning electricity. Clone everything.
Yeah.
You know, it seems like it. So I don't know. I mean, maybe they are cloning. I mean, maybe the dire wolves are real. I don't think so though.
That could be the cover story.
That feels like a cover story.
Yeah.
I feel like this is kind of like mind control because they love doing that. They love mind control.
Yeah.
They love kind of controlling your perceptions and like also kind of corralling you mentally. I think this might be like I'm feeling nudged by this story.
Yeah. What do you
Like,
think they're telling us this story for?
they're saying you need to get away from your biblical worldview.
Mhm.
You are just a ant on a rock, and
And
you're nothing.
we could just clone you.
We can clone you.
That's how insignificant
That's how
and
insignificant you are.
ununique you are.
You're not. There's no. Yeah, that's another thing too. There's no soul. There's no such thing as a
No.
soul.
Well, that's what Noah Harari says. Nobody has a soul.
Well, he doesn't have one, but that doesn't mean I don't.
I mean, speak for yourself, dude.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, he's gay. Maybe gay dudes lose their souls.
Is he gay? I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I mean,
he's gay.
so he's got a lot of different things going on.
Yeah, he's like, I'm a gay, and then he's probably
A
got
gay
some.
psychopath.
I'm a gay psychopath, and here's my. He probably has one of those titles like that guy. He's like, I'm a paleogeneticist. Well, this is kind of a cool rabbit hole. I'm glad we went down this. You know, it just kind of goes to show like one little blurb that you come across might have a lot kind of behind it.
It's kind of it kind of shows that, one rabbit hole just basically leads to like 1,000 other rabbit holes.
Once you get down into the tunnels, you realize they all kind of go to the same
They're
place.
all kind of connected at some point.
Yeah, like I kind of have this idea like once you start going down a rabbit hole, it gets into a tunnel system and then it leads to a big like cult ceremony in the middle.
Yeah.
Like underground cult ceremony is always kind of like at the core of everything.
Oh.
I don't know. It's kind of weird.
Gosh, that just that makes me think about, well, two things. Peppa Pig.
Peppa? Yeah.
Peppa Pig because of the rabbit. But
I love her.
It also makes me think about the underground tunnels and the ancient buildings that had the windows at the floor level that we were talking about.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to have to do an episode on that.
Let's do because it's kind of like a physical manifestation of the rabbit hole analogy.
It's like our rabbit holes that we talk about. Well, there's actually real, like literal tunnels underground that are actual literal rabbit holes.
And they're all connected.
They're all connected. Mm-hmm.
And all these rabbit holes are connected. Because it kind of seems like I'm repeating myself a lot of times when we're talking about stuff. It keeps coming back to this, like, Crystal Cedar, you're a bad person. You need to die. It kind of,
And stay in your cage.
and like some people might say, well, you're making a lot of connections that aren't really connections. I feel like it's kind of a natural connection. It's kind of like it feels real organic that all roads lead back to you need to die.
And it all also leads back to like everything's a lie. Everything is a lie. We're not spinning.
Yeah. No, you're such a bad human.
I know.
2.5 million years ago, these dire wolves lived.
I know. They were probably really cute too.
They were. They were really adorable.
That's why we needed to bring them back.
And with two bones that were millions of years apart, we
were able to reconstruct
we've reconstructed it. You're such a bad human for not believing it. All right, that was good. It was great seeing you again.
You too.
Okay.
Bye.